soft, fleshy hands. He tried to jam it into the earth, but the blade banged against the ground and bounced up without making a dent. The vibrations ran up the shaft of the shovel and into Stanley's wrists, making his bones rattle. It was still dark. The only light came from the moon and the stars, more stars than Stanley had ever seen before. It seemed he'd only just gotten to sleep when Mr. Pendanski came in and woke everyone up. Using all his might, he brought the shovel back down onto the dry lane bed. The force stung his hands but made no impression on the earth. He wondered if he had a defective shovel. He glanced at Zero, about 15 feet away, who had scooped out a shovel of dirt and dumped it onto the pile and was already almost a foot tall. For breakfast they had been served some kind of lukewarm cereal. The best part was the orange juice. They had each gotten a pint carton. The cereal actually didn't taste too bad, but it smelled just like his cot. Then when they finished their canteens, got their shovels, and were marched out into the lake. Each group was assigned a different area. The shovels were kept in the shed near the showers. They all looked the same to Stanley, although X-Ray had his own special shovel, which no one else was allowed to use. X-Ray claimed it was shorter than the others, but if it was only by a fraction of an inch. The shovels were 5 feet long, from the tip of the steel blade to the end of the wooden shaft. Stanley's hole would have to be as deep as his shovel, and he'd have to be able to lay the shovel flat at the bottom in any direction. That was why X-Ray wanted the shortest shovel. The lake was so full of holes and mounds that it reminded Stanley of pictures he'd seen of the moon. If you find anything unusual or interesting, Mr. Pendanski had told, you should report it to either me or Mr. Sir when we come around with the water truck. If the warden likes what you found, you get the rest of the day off. What are we supposed to be looking for? Stanley had asked him. You're not looking for anything. You're digging to build character. It's just, if you find anything, the warden would like to know about it. He glanced helplessly at his shovel. It wasn't effective. He was defective. He noticed a thin crack on the ground. He placed the point of his shovel on top of it, then jumped at the back of the blade with both feet. The shovel sank a few inches into the packed earth. He smiled. For once in his life, it had paid to be overweight. He leaned on the shaft and pried up his first shovelful of dirt, then dumped it off onto the side. Only 10 million more to go, he thought, then placed the shovel back on the crack and jumped on it again. He unearthed several shovels of dirt in this manner before it occurred to him that he was dumping dirt well within the parameter of his hole. He lay his shovel flat on the ground and marked where the edges of his hole should be. 5 feet was awfully wide. He moved the dirt he had already dug up out past his mark. He took a drink from his canteen. 5 feet would be awfully deep too. The digging got easier after a while. The ground was hardest at the surface, where the sun had baked a crust about 18 inches deep. Beneath that, the earth was looser. But by the time Stanley broke past the crust, a blister had formed in the middle of his right thumb, and it hurt to even hold the shovel. Stanley's great-great-grandfather was named Elia Yelnats. He was born in Latvia. When he was 15 years old, he fell in love with Myra Menk. He didn't know he was Stanley's great-great-grandfather. Myra Menk was 14. She would turn 15 in 2 months, at which time her father had decided she should be married. Elia went to ask her father for her hand, but so did Igor Barkov, the pig farmer. Igor was 57 years old. He had a red nose and fat, puffy cheeks. I will trade you my fattest pig for your daughter, Igor offered. And what have you got? Myra's father asked Elia. A heart full of love, said Elia. I'd rather have a fat pig, said Myra's father. Desperate, Elia went to see Madame Zeroni, an old Egyptian woman who lived in the town at the edge of town. He had become friends with her. She thought though she was quite a bit older than him. She was even older than Igor Barkov. The other boys in his village liked to mud wrestle. Elia preferred visiting Madame Zeroni and listening to her many stories. Madame Zeroni had dark skin and a very wide mouth. When she looked at you, her eyes seemed to expand, and you felt like she was looking right through you. Elia what's wrong?" she asked, before he even told her he was upset. She was sitting in a homemade wheelchair. She had no left foot. Her leg stopped at her ankle. "I'm in love with Myra Menk," Elliot confessed, "but Igor Barkov has offered to trade his fattest pig for her. I can't compete with that." "Good," said Madame Zeroni. "You're too young to get married. You've got your whole life ahead of you." "But I love Myra." Myra's head is as empty as a flower pot, but she's beautiful. So is a flower pot. Can she push a plough? Can she milk a goat? No, she is too delicate. Can she have an intelligent conversation? No, she is silly and foolish. Will she take care of you when you are sick? No, she is spoiled and will only want you to take care of her. So she is beautiful. So what? Madame Zeroni spat on the dirt. She told Elliot that he should go to America. "Like my son, that's where your future lies, not with Myra Monk." But Elliot would hear none of that. He was 15 and all he could see was Myra's shallow beauty. Madame Zeroni hated to see Elliot so forlorn. Against her better judgment, she agreed to help him. "It just so happens my sow gave birth to a litter of piglets yesterday," she said. "There was little Runt, whom she won't suckle. You may have him. He would die anyway." Madame Zeroni led Elliot around the back of her house where she kept the pigs. Elliot took the little piglet, but he didn't see what good it would do him. It wasn't much bigger than a rat. "He'll grow," Madame Zeroni assured him. "Do you see that mountain on the edge of the forest?" "Yes," replied Elliot. "On top of the mountain there is a stream where the water runs uphill. You must carry the piglet every day to the top of the mountain and let it drink from the stream. As it drinks, you are to sing to him." She taught Elliot a special song to sing to the pig. "On the day of Myra's 15th birthday, you should carry the pig up to the mountain for one last time. Then take it directly to Myra's father. It will be fatter than any of Igor's pigs." "If it is that big and fat," said Elliot, "how will I be able to carry it up a mountain?" "The piglet is not too heavy for you now, is it?" asked Madame Zeroni. "Of course not," said Elliot. "Do you think it would be too heavy for you tomorrow?" "No. Every day you will carry the pig up the mountain. It will get a little bigger, but you will get a little stronger. After you give the pig to Myra's father, I want you to do one more thing for me." "Anything," said Elliot. "I want you to carry me up the mountain. I want to drink from the stream, and I want you to sing the song to me." Elliot promised he would. Madame Zeroni warned that if he failed to do this, he and his descendants would become doomed for all eternity. At the time, Elliot thought nothing of the curse. He was just a 15-year-old kid, and eternity didn't seem much longer than a week from Tuesday. Besides, he liked Madame Zeroni, and he would gladly carry her up the mountain. He would have done it right there and then, but he wasn't strong enough. Stanley was still digging. His hole was about 3 feet deep, but only in the centre. It sloped upwards towards the edges. The sun had only just come up over the horizon, but he could already feel its hot rays against his face. As he reached down to pick up his canteen, he felt a sudden rush of dizziness, put his hands to his knees to steady himself. For a moment he was afraid he would throw up, but the moment passed. He drank the last drop of water from his canteen. He had blisters on every one of his fingers, and one in the centre of each palm. Everyone else's hole was a lot deeper than his. He couldn't actually see their holes, but he could tell by the size of the dirt piles. He saw a cloud of dust moving towards the wasteland, and noticed that the other boys had stopped digging and were watching it too. The dirt moved closer, and he could see that it trailed behind a red pickup truck. The truck stopped near where they were digging, and the boys lined up behind it. X-ray in front, Zero at the rear. Stanley got in line behind Zero. Mr. Sir filled each of their canteens from a tank of water in the bed of the pickup. As he took Stanley's canteen from him, he said, "This isn't the Girl Scouts, is it?" Stanley raised and lowered one shoulder. "Okay, guys, I'm going to finish there for a second, and I'll start up